These are my top 5 memes of the UFC in 2020, and in this video I'm going to go through all 5 of them, starting at number 5, ending with number 1, letting you guys know why they are in the position on my list that those memes are in. I'm also going to add some honorable mentions at the end as well, so stay tuned for that. One thing I do want to mention before we even get into this top 5 memes video is that I looked up the meaning of the word meme, and supposedly, according to Google, it is an element of a culture or system of behavior passed from one individual to another by imitation or other non-genetic means. Don't care about that at all, let's be real. An image, video, piece, or text. We don't care what the meaning is. My definition of a meme is something that I can just tell you guys, and you will grin as I speak the words that I'm about to say in this video throughout my top 5. It can be an inside joke of the MMA community. It can be a person in the MMA community that is nothing but joy, and you can just look at that person's face and understand the joke immediately of what's going on. It could be something, a phrase that someone will say that you will understand as a joke. It's got to be a UFC meme, so it's only known by the UFC community. And if I said this word, you guys would chuckle at your desks immediately. Or if I said this person, you guys would chuckle at your desk as well. We're going to start going through all of them at number 5 with referee Dan Hardy stopping the fight. I think it was a great moment in 2020. Referee Dan Hardy stepping in, jumping up where Herb Dean couldn't, and getting in there to stop the fight between Francisco Trinaldo and Jai Herbert. We all remember it very well. Dan Hardy stands up and erupts in fury. Stop the fight! It was an amazing time. And it was also 2 times Herb that I do need to mention as well. But that's something that I can just say. If someone screams out there today, if I walk down London city centre and there are 2 homeless people scrapping with each other, which there often is, and someone screams out, stop the fight, I will immediately think of Dan Hardy's smug face as he tries to then backpedal beyond belief after getting in this altercation with Herb Dean, because once Dana White came out and said that what Dan Hardy did was wrong, he backpedaled. It was so funny to watch the fear on him, and then he tried to expose Herb Dean's entire history of judging fights or refereeing fights, and went through every single one of Herb Dean's stoppages, and then he took it off of his YouTube page as well. So then there was that as well. It's just so many layers to the meme of Dan Hardy stopping the fight, and you could almost sense it coming because Dan Hardy has been standing up and wandering around whilst doing commentary this entire time, and he's made sure he's in camera angle, and this was the big enchilada on top of all of it. Dan Hardy stopping the fight, becoming a referee, is number 5 on my list. I'm going to get to the honourable mentions afterwards, and there are a ton of them. But Dan Hardy stopping the fight is definitely one of the biggest memes of this year, and it sits at number 5 on my list. Moving on to another meme. This one has made it to the position at number 4. It would not be in my top 5. In terms of things that make me laugh, this would not be in my top 5, but this has to be in there at number 4 because of the reason of how much it has been used over 2020, and that is motivated McGregor. You've got to put it in there. It's in every single comment section of every single UFC post you will ever see. I have not found it funny. I used to find it funny at the start, but now it's been used so much that it's kind of like I expect to see it every single time I open up a post. Someone's going to mention something about Conor McGregor. But then also, one thing I do need to mention that definitely solidified this positional meme on my list. Derek Lewis used a meme. If a fighter is using the same meme, it's got to be in the top 5 memes of 2020, and Derek Lewis came out and made a joke about motivating McGregor. Ariel Helwani understands it as well, so it's definitely got to be in the top 5. I just don't find it as funny as it was at the start because of how much it has been used. I mean, I can't exaggerate that enough. There are so many motivated McGregor jokes out there on the internet. I think it overcomes every other joke on this list, or every other person on this list in terms of memeology. But I'm going to put motivated McGregor at number 4. He motivated McGregor could beat Derek Lewis. Well, actually, I wouldn't even mind his chances anyway, but still, motivated McGregor could also take on the likes of John Jones, pre-USADA. Like, motivated McGregor could take on the likes of Dino Sanya, who's another meme that didn't quite make it in this list today. So if you're expecting to see that at number 1, Dino Sanya is an honorable mention. I will mention those along the way maybe as well. An honorable mention to the memes of 2020 is Israel Adesanya. Dino Sanya himself growing a breast at 30 years of age due to a hormone imbalance, and no one questioning it whatsoever. Motivated McGregor sits at number 4 on my list of memes. Moving on to the top 3. At number 3 on my list of memes, I think you saw it coming. It's Tyron Woodley falling in and out of love with his career as he slips down those rankings extremely rapidly after a loss to Gilbert Burns, after a loss to Kamaru Usman before that was really terrible. Then Burns does the exact same thing to him by just dominating over 5 rounds. Then Colby Covington comes out and does exactly the same thing to Tyron Woodley. I think Tyron Woodley falling in and out of love with a career is a great time, and falling in and out of a career in general is a great meme in 2020 because there's so many aspects to it. There's the singing part of it, where the song of him actually singing it can be a joke itself. There's just saying that he's falling in and out of love with this, and him breaking his rib comes into play as well. Tyron Woodley is a part of this meme himself. Him in his car constantly. I don't think I've ever seen Woodley speak unless it was at a car. He definitely doesn't speak at press conferences because he just sits there in silence and says that Black Lives Matter, which is interesting to do, and that's another reason why he's on this meme list. Number 3 on my list is Tyron Woodley falling in and out of a career. Bellator Lives Matter. There's so many directions you can go with this joke, and no one outside of the UFC or MMA community would understand this joke. If I started singing falling in and out of love with you, no one would understand that outside of the UFC world. And I think that's what a meme truly is. It's an embodiment of humor which needs no explanation to someone who understands that humor as well. Thank you for number 3 on my list, Tyron Woodley. As much as you've lost every single fight this year and have lost humiliatingly every single time, you have added yourself to the top 3 memes of 2020. And if that isn't an accomplishment, listen, I know Woodley wants to come back in 2021, but I'd say making the MMA Guru's top 3 list of memes. Who needs a career, in all honesty? Maybe he needs to fall right out of that career. Tyron Woodley sits at number 3. Amazing stuff. I mean, you can just go down so many directions with it. The song, playing it in the background of like a baby crying. I've seen it used in so many ways. Tyron Woodley in his rap career and in and out of a career falling wise. I think I'm going to go with Tyron Woodley at number 3. Moving on to number 2. And here's where things get very interesting, okay? We're going into the embodiments of people. There are certain people in the MMA community that can't be denied for the meme that they are. And number 2 on my list is Mike Perry being Mike Perry. And that is the meme itself. It could even be without being Mike Perry. It could just be Mike Perry. Just those 2 words are enough to make someone chuckle somewhere in this world if they are an MMA fan, because Mike Perry has had nothing but entertaining moments this entire career through, whether it be letting Tim Means know that he's eating pizzas and bad food weeks before their fight where he's about to start cutting weight, or like a week before their fight, I believe it even was. It's just crazy to me that Mike Perry has somehow, with all of the cuts going on in the UFC this year, somehow kept a hold of his career. And I think the only reason that Mike Perry has kept a hold of his career is because of the meme of things. And I'm going to add in a bit of a slash Darren Till here as well. His back and forth with Darren Till. Darren Till would not have that entertainment value if Mike Perry did not exist as a person. The only reason it became such a huge deal, Till coming into the corner of Mike Perry having his pregnant girlfriend in his corner with him, Mike Perry singing Halo to Tim Means in the cage. There's so many moments we can go through with Mike Perry this year. His losses, his terrible performance to Mickey Gall, him missing weight, and this is the best moment of all, I believe, that needs a little bit more attention here. Mike Perry missing weight is one of the most underrated jokes I've ever seen, because I don't think anyone found it quite as funny as I did. But the fact that Mike Perry showed Tim Means that he was eating junk food at the start of this year, okay, or not at the start of this year, showed Tim Means that he was eating junk food a week before his fight happened. And then he was talking about how he knows he's not going to make weight. And then, instead of just entering the room to make weight and get rid of all of the situation and just accept that you've missed weight and leave afterwards and start rejuvenating yourself, Mike Perry chose to wait until the very end to show up like 4 pounds overweight in front of all the MMA media. He made the MMA media members sit there and wait for what felt like an hour for Mike Perry to get to the scales. Meanwhile, they are thinking that he is torturing himself to get down to 171 pounds so he can make weight at welterweight. Instead, Mike Perry gets on the scale 4 pounds over, an hour late to the weigh-ins, and as the weight is being read, he just hits a dab. And it was a perfect meme, a perfect use of memeology. And I think that sits Mike Perry at number 2. But number 1 on my list is someone that doesn't get nearly enough credit, okay? You think that you think that Cub Swanson beating Kron Gracie was cool? I'm going to take you guys to the original Gracie killer. Okay? This guy is a meme in himself. Another one in a Mike Perry situation. Just the face of this man will make you chuckle at some point if you are an MMA fan. And some people won't agree with this. This is my personal favorite that makes me chuckle the most. And that is Waleed Ismail and the God of War. The duo themselves of Deiveson Figueiredo and Waleed Ismail. It almost has nothing to do with Deiveson Figueiredo. It has nothing to do with Deiveson Figueiredo, but he has to be mentioned because it's because of him that we get to see Waleed Ismail at all. Because I'll tell you this, Paulo Costa, when he had Waleed with him, no one was all that big on Waleed when Paulo Costa was the one with him. But now that Deiveson Figueiredo is there and he can't speak a word of English, it allows Waleed Ismail to shine. I think he is the biggest meme of 2020. He has made me laugh personally the most. I love it when Deiveson Figueiredo will go on some massive, long... Deiveson Figueiredo will talk for like an hour long, and then Waleed will say, "You ready for the fight?" You know, he'll just come out with some one-word answer, or Deiveson will respond with one word, and Waleed will go on a massive story about when, once upon a time, when Adam first met Eve, and Figueiredo was born on that day, and then 10 years later, we come to a moment where he first had his first kiss, or something like. We go down the history every single time Waleed Ismail opens his mouth, and I love that Waleed Ismail, I just love him as a person. I think that's why I've put him at number 1 on my list. There's something about Waleed, and I love that people don't like him as well. I love that there's comments in his videos that he's done with Deiveson Figueiredo where they're just saying, you guys need to get a new translator. He is not translating a single word that Deiveson Figueiredo says. I like that Figueiredo knows as well, because you'll see sometimes in interviews Figueiredo start looking over at Waleed once he's gone on for like 5 minutes about something, and Waleed will sort of like reaffirm with him, no, I'm the one speaking here. They don't want anything to do with you, Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm the big star. And I love also the laugh of Waleed Ismail, in the corner as Deiveson Figueiredo says something, and then it will just be Waleed talking about how Figueiredo misses his kids, and we're like, why are you laughing about that while he says it, Waleed? Clearly Figueiredo did not say that. And then Waleed will just come out on his own and make up his own stories. I don't think we've ever seen someone with the balls of a translator like Waleed Ismail. And I also want to mention, in case we did not get to see him enough, he makes sure to be in the frame for Deiveson Figueiredo's translation as he gets the belt wrapped around his waist. Post-fight interview. Where's the translator? Who's going to run to the rescue? It's Waleed Ismail. I'm the translator. And he wasn't the translator anyway. Someone else was, and Waleed was not supposed to be there in the first place. I love everything about Waleed Ismail. I think some honourable mentions this year were, in fact, Gaino Sanya, as I said earlier in the video. Also, I want to mention Second Prime Teixeira is a big deal for me. Second Prime Teixeira is a huge deal, and I think is a very underrated meme. I don't even know what else to include in this video, but there are so many memes you could go through this year. I love every single one of them. Everything makes UFC way better, and I honestly believe Waleed Ismail has contributed at least 10,000 pay-per-view buys to every Deiveson Figueiredo card just because we want to see him. You know what I mean? Just because we want to see Waleed Ismail make that godlike appearance at some point, and I just love the shades. It's like they're a villain couple of people, Deiveson and Waleed together. It's like an iconic image. I never want... At one point, I want Deiveson Figueiredo to learn English. I really do. I also don't want Deiveson Figueiredo to learn English. I really don't. I want Waleed Ismail to permanently be the mouth of Figueiredo, and that's how we'll do it for the rest of UFC history. But that's what we'll do. Top 5 UFC memes of 2020. You've got Waleed and the God of War. At number 1, Mike Perry being Mike Perry at number 2. Tyron Woodley falling in and out of a career at number 3. And also the rib situation. I didn't even mention... Did I mention the ribs? Did I mention the fucking ribs? Am I kidding myself here? Woodley's ribs? Did I even not... I'm kind of ashamed of myself if I didn't mention that. But still, the ribs are hilarious. Number 4, Motivated McGregor, just by proxy of being mentioned so much throughout this year. And also Dan Hardy stopping the fight and becoming a referee is also a huge one in my opinion. The Yamasaki memes have died out. I feel like they have. The Yamasaki memes are gone. I think this is a new era of MMA memes, and we'll see once they start to change once more in 2021. Can you predict what the memes will be in 2021? Let me know in the predictions below, in the comments below. They're comments, not predictions. But predict in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Those are my top 5 memes of 2020. Goodbye. Click that button up there. See you later. Toodle pip.